Hi, friends. Welcome to Talking French People. It's me, host Eric, Sergeant Host Eric of the Type Police. I got a perp here under the badge, which we'll introduce to you in a moment. Now, this is the first time I've ever pulled somebody over who's invisible, but I did that today. I don't get to see what he looks like. I only get to hear what he has to say. We're gonna have to type him purely on vocals, verbalizations. But that's what I normally use anyway, so that's not a big deal. It may be less entertaining as a consequence. I'm not sure if that's going to prove to be true or not. If you guys are like, you guys, I did it. I called you guys. God damn it. Anyway, if viewers are like, I don't like that, then just say that and I'll avoid doing this again in the future. Okay, without further ado, let's start the television program that we're about to make. Try as you might, you just can't hide, 'cause you're mistyped. And I've been waiting to pull you over all night. Type police, type police. Please pull that guy over. He says he's INFP, but seems extroverted, sensing to me. I think he's ESFP or type police. Okay, so we've got a guy pulled over here, and he goes by the name of Student of Rhythm. Claims to be an INFP. Am I convinced? Not yet, obviously. I haven't really watched any of it. Let's look first at his channel intro, which he talks about being an INFP. I did hear that little bit of it at the beginning when I went to see his channel.
Myers-Briggs says I'm an INFP, a misunderstood idealist, likely to seek out grand causes to sacrifice myself to if I can ever manage to leave the house. Big Five says I'm a feckless doormat with little ability to feel positive emotions. Certainly I've gone through phases of wondering if I would ever amount to anything, and while I never achieved a selfless devotion to a noble cause, I have, despite what the Big Five may predict, achieved a stable family and professional life, with a house and a garden. But I'm still perpetually frustrated because I'm creative and I'm alive. And I see so many ways the world could be, but isn't. So I share these performances with you, which include storytelling, soul-searching, drowning in my own analysis, reciting poetry, expounding on Rush lyrics, lamentations for the mistreatment of the land I love, and sometimes Mormons.
Okay. Interesting. Let me just say right off the bat that you can hear it in the prose, right? You can hear the extroverted intuition in the prose. That's how people with extroverted intuition in the first or second slot understand verbal cadences and language. It's not something that other types do. People write in different ways. He's writing like an extroverted intuitor. He loves words. You can just feel it when he's doing his shit, He loves the play of the language on his tongue as he's recording this shit. And that's something I totally vibe with. I understand that feeling. I understand what it means to be frustrated in one's creative endeavors. So it's like I identify with this person right away. And I'd also say I'm immediately finding myself being careful, which is indicative of being in the presence of my supervisor type. So let me pull a bong rip. It's always a good idea in the middle of pulling somebody over to take a moment, to pause, to pull a couple bong rips. Otherwise, you're not really taking enough care in doing your job. And boy, have I been hearing it from commenters. Whew. I'm embarrassing myself, I was told. Yeah.
Who told you that?
I don't know, some commenter. I pointed out that I don't feel embarrassed. But he said, well, it's not that I'm embarrassing myself like I'm aware of it or feeling embarrassed. It's that I'm an embarrassment to people outside of my clique. Which he misspelled C-L-I-C-K. I pointed out that people who don't like me are embarrassed by me, then that's probably a good thing from my perspective. You know what I mean? If they feel comparatively inadequate. He hasn't responded yet to that observation. But anyway, I'm loving the comment battles. They're great. You'll never see me, quote-unquote, astroturf the comments. You can say whatever you want. Unless it's fucking, like, just a bunch of, like, super... Sometimes people put a bunch of super racist nonsense down. Sometimes I don't delete those just because it seems so pointless. It's not worth the time of engaging nonsense that's just, like, spewing pointless hatred towards an arbitrarily defined group or something.
Well, this person that says that you're embarrassing yourself should probably not watch any more of them.
I agree.
In fact, why don't you just not...
You shouldn't have to see that. You shouldn't have to endure that kind of...
Yeah, in fact, don't even click on Eric's shit anymore. In fact, we don't want you. Eric might, but I don't. So, get lost, chump.
I want you to keep fighting your battles in the comment section.
No.
I love it when commenters battle back and forth.
That's fine, but, whatever.
It becomes a little bit more sensitive to that stuff sometimes. Anyway, let's get back to business here. We've had this guy sitting on the curb for a while. I can only detain him for so long. I gotta let him go. So
I'm not feeling real good.
You aren't? Why not?
I'm still dizzy. Remember a couple days ago I told you I was dizzy and...
Yeah. Did you take Tylenols or something like that?
No, I probably need to take Tylenols. I probably need to drink some water. I started drinking some water this morning.
Yes, you need to hydrate. You need to eat. You need to take
ate,
Tylenols.
Remember the casserole?
Okay,
I ate the rest of the casserole. I took my pills. And even still, and drank 2 things of water, and even still was in the grocery store, and I had to stop for a minute because I moved too quickly. And I was literally like...
Inner ear sinus issues.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. All right, so go take some Tylenols.
Yeah.
And take the kind that are up there that have the cold and flu thing in them, too, that are daytime, because that'll decongest you. There's some daytime ones right up above the thing.
Mine too.
Okay, anyway. Sorry, everybody. I got a little sidetracked here. Let's see this one. Am I a leftist, he says. Anyway, I'm already... more or less convinced that I'm going to let him go because I can just smell the NE. If he's mistyped himself as an INFP, but he's actually an INTP, for example, well, he could go to jail, but it would be a small charge. It's like INTPs are known to mistype themselves as INFPs sometimes because they're so into skepticism.
Is it even easy for other people to mistype them?
No, usually I can tell when INTPs are just plain. I'm so skeptical. I'm entertaining the notion that I'm an INFP.
Oh.
This guy probably is an INFP, but we'll find out in a little bit.
Hello from the student of rhythm. It's a gorgeous winter day. It's one of those dull, white-gray, overcast, snowy winter days that I love so deeply and fiercely. And I'm going to just do a short monologue. We'll see about that. I'm going to talk about my politics. I don't like putting it that way. Anyway, I'm going to talk about my political views briefly. I'm just going to make a couple of points. There are principles that I believe in very deeply.
That should fix that problem. He very
ideals, because I'm idealist. And so there are some ideals and principles that I feel strongly about and hold deeply. Much more reserved about expressing than I was before. And there are some ideas I have about what would be righteous and what would be effective strategies and policies to honor some of these principles, or to bring about environments in which
the verb you're looking
these
for is
principles
uphold.
could flourish, or at least find safe places.
So you want to uphold those values. That's a better way to put it. And that's fine.
Safe places of expression. I'm going to put up on the screen the results of a test that I took. I've taken this test many times, and consistently for the past, I'd say, 15 years, more or less, it's put me in the same quadrant. As you can see, I'm in the lower left quadrant, that of libertarian and left. Now, there was a time that I had no idea that there could be such a thing.
That's where I land.
I regarded libertarianism as a sort of hyper-reactionary, callous, dedication towards preserving the license of the extraordinary at the expense of the downtrodden.
Let me correct myself. I'm actually in the libertarian right category. I land slightly to the right of the middle in libertarian right. Kim is libertarian left. And, of course, the thing that makes this person a feeler and me a thinker is he mistakes his concern for meaningful in terms of policy prescriptions. And, of course, it's not. The fact that some people are downtrodden and some people are doing well doesn't mean that the people who are doing well are responsible for the downtroddenness of those who aren't. And that's the fundamental flaw in the thinking of people like Student of Rhythm and other libertarian leftists, is they think they can have their cake and eat it too. You can't have liberty only when you feel like it, or when it's pleasant. You got to have liberty or not. Anyway, let's proceed.
And a complete disregard for misfortune, as blaming it on the victim and so on and so on. I was pretty far left, I guess we might say, by the time I left college, which is a bit ironic since I graduated from BYU. But I ran into some left-thinking folks there and had a lot of conversations and had a lot of mind-changing gradually. And then when I was in graduate school, I happened into, an argument, mostly over email, with somebody in my family, who I would describe as more of a right-leaning libertarian. And over the course of that argument, I found myself examining my views and amending them according to what really made sense, things that he said that I couldn't just gainsay out of, well, I don't like you, this part of your views, so I'm going to reject all of them. Or, I think you're a racist, so...
So
I think you're a racist, so nothing you say has any validity at all.
This is interesting.
I read, at the time, I was at graduate school in Pittsburgh. And I was studying archives. And Pittsburgh, the University of Pittsburgh has a trove of material, as you might expect, about the Industrial Revolution in America, and labor movements, labor unions, radical political movements, all sorts of good stuff, if you want to study that. And I remember reading a statement from somebody giving a speech of some sort. Just because an extremist says something doesn't make it false. She was saying, if we're going to reject everything that the other side says just because it's the other side and we think that they're a bunch of horrible people, then we're really just defeating any ability to actually come to forge an understanding of truth and refine our understandings of what we should do. And there's, of course, a difference between engaging somebody who's in good faith.
Okay.
And
somebody who's in good faith and somebody who's just determined to prove that they're right, and then there's a difference there. I actually happened upon this part of the video earlier when I was sort of previewing a little bit. Definitely NFP, an advanced NFP. You'll note that while he talks about prioritizing truth, he's coming to appreciate the value of his countervalued sixth function. But in the next breath, he invalidates what he just said. That you can't, if you're dealing with somebody who's just arguing to be right and because they want to be right, then it's pointless. It's a pointless endeavor. Of course, that's absolutely not the case. If somebody's arguing because they want to be right and they're trying their goddamn hardest, that's the best opponent I want to have. Because then when their arguments fail, real change happens. That's from my perspective, right, as a thinker. That then they avoid those arguments anymore because those arguments hurt to use. It causes them discomfort. This guy's saying it's your motivation that matters. If you're motivated towards the truth, if you're motivated towards dialectic, then you can have a meaningful political conversation with somebody. But if you're motivated towards adversarial rhetoric, then you can't. Well, that's absolutely not true, but it's typical INFP perspective on things because they think that the feelings are the things that matter ultimately, what the person's motivation is. And whether or not the person is respectful of their feelings and the feelings of others. And so they talk about, not blaming the victim, not blaming the downtrodden. Well, he says that, but probably at least at some point in his life, the incarnation was really blame the successful. It wasn't don't blame the victim. I mean, I don't really hear anybody saying, let's blame the poor for being poor. I hear people saying, let's not punish others who aren't poor for the fact that there are poor people. So that's a libertarian right understanding of things that I'm voicing here. And he's libertarian left. I'm convinced he's an INFP. I'd say because he doesn't show himself on camera. If he were an ENFP, he'd want to be on camera probably. And definitely a feeler based on what I've seen so far and every indication I get there. And, 8th slot TI, so it's stronger than you think. As you hear him making some TI arguments in there, like we should prioritize. We can't just dismiss shit by saying you're racist. We have to actually look at the argument somewhat. That's typical of INFP as well, because they've got stronger TI than people think, and they're more prone to using it than people think. Especially when the circumstances are appropriate, they can get a lot of shit done with their TI. Just as I get a lot of shit done with my SE. The 8th slot is effective. So, sir, you get to go free. Whatever your name is, something rhythm. Student of rhythm. I'm a student of rhythm too, my friend. Okay, so that about brings this video to a close. Let me just make one more little announcement here before we go. I was very pleasantly surprised last night. I want to say thank you to whatever random lady it was who texted me a picture of her boobs. Now, my whole life, I've been the person that doesn't happen to, right? Like, chicks don't want to send me pictures of their boobs. So I just want to reassure all the women out there, female women, adult women, adults only, if you want to send me a picture of your boobs, that's totally okay with me. Okay? That's totally fine. Go right ahead. You'll get a text back from me saying, boobs, ! And that's it. I'm not going to bother you or anything. I'm in a relationship, obviously. But that is so exciting. That was so thrilling to me to get a picture of boobs last night. So thank you to whoever lady it was. She had her face covered up. She just showed me her boobs, So I don't know who it is or whatever, but thank you for that. Appreciate it. Obviously, fully uncovered boobs are preferable, but bra boobs is fine. Even boobs in a shirt is fine, Especially if it's a Talking with Famous People shirt. That'd be great. Anyway, enough about boobs. We all love boobs, so there's no surprise there. And men, you want to go to Patreon, pledge $1 a month, that'd be fantastic. Women, you could do that too, or the thing I mentioned before would be just as, man does not live on dollar bills alone. So, thanks for watching. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese, and tune in next time for another exciting edition of The Type Police. Try as you might, you just can't type, 'cause you're mistyped, and I've been waiting to pull you over all night. Type police, type police. Please pull that guy over. He says he's INTP, but seems extroverted, sensing to me. I think he's ESFP or type police. Thanks. And those of you who try to dismiss me with your things like, well, you're just a drug-addled whatever, you can so totally go meow yourself. I don't want to lose monetization on this video, but that is the weakest kind of personal attack that doesn't deal with anything I'm saying. So if you're that weak, then just go away. I just don't even want to hear your garbage.